Hi friends, thank you so much for tuning in to my channel. Today we are going to do some homemaking and some bread making and preparing for my husband to return back to work after a couple months of paternity leave. So come along and check out our 1880 farmhouse on 8 acres that we've been remodeling and see what a day in the life with 2 under 2 looks like.
Oh, it's so fun. And you're sweet. Wee. Go way up high.
So now that my daughter had some fun times outside and got some energy out, and I took the kids on a stroller walk, and we let the chickens out and did our morning chores and whatnot, and she probably ate 2 or 3 snack meals. And now my husband has her on a feed store run, and I am getting some sourdough discard focaccia bread going, and little man is napping. I also took my sourdough starter out of its normal container because I've had it in there since June and I've never washed it, and I felt like it was getting kind of gross. So that was a special project that I could do before my husband goes back to work, that I'm not going to have time pretty soon to do stuff like that. In preparation for me being home all day with both of the kids, we also brought in this pack and play into the kitchen so I can have a safe place to put the baby where his big sister can't poke him in the eye. So for this sourdough focaccia bread, I am using Farmhouse on Boone's recipe. And I should probably back up a little bit and just kind of introduce our family and everything. Like I said, it's myself and my husband and our 2 kids that are under 2. We've got our baby girl Aurora, who's 1.5 years, and then our son Walter, who is 2 months old. So they're pretty close in age, and they've just been so sweet together. It's the greatest blessing. And we live in this 1880 farmhouse that we have been working on fixing up. My husband does residential remodeling, so he's super handy. And we are on 8 acres, so we have chickens and dogs and horses and a garden. Now I am just putting in all the flour, and you can see that I kind of hesitate because I forget how many cups I put in there. You're supposed to do it half cup at a time, so that's a lot of counting. I got this KitchenAid mixer from my grandma, and I'm so grateful for it. I would not just go out and buy one. So, and there in the background, you can see our cleaning lady, Melissa. I don't know if people ever wonder how my house is so clean, but she's our magical cleaning fairy. We love her. With the kids, with having Walter recently, I've been having her come like once a month to do some of the deeper cleaning stuff that I just can't seem to get to. So that has been a huge blessing. This recipe for the focaccia bread is really easy, and it makes a lot, and it's super yummy. And I'm gonna make some bruschetta, and then it also makes like really good sandwich bread if you cut it in half. Slice it really thin. It's super yummy. And I'm going to get to use some fresh rosemary from our herb garden on it, so that'll be really good. I'm just checking my recipe, making sure I have the right amounts in here, and then setting my timer so that it can knead for, I think it's like between 10 and 15 minutes, just kind of depends. So yeah, I've been doing sourdough bread for a little while now, but definitely relatively short compared to a lot of other people. And now my husband and daughter are back from the feed store, and she's gonna have a snack. Some of the other projects we've been doing before he goes back to work is like washing her high chair, and we took like the fabric part off of it so it's not as difficult to clean anymore. Getting her booster seat installed. We also had a table that had wheels on it that she kept like almost falling off of because she climbs up on it, and so we took the wheels off. Well, I say we, my husband did it. And then just put like the rubber stopper things on the bottom so that it doesn't scoot around as much. Just trying to make the house more safe and have less things that she can get into trouble with. Now my bread is almost done being kneaded, and since I took the sourdough directly out of the fridge because it's a discard recipe, but I didn't have enough. I want to say it calls for like a cup. I just fed the starter, mixed it together, took out what I needed, and then fed it again. So that is an option. I love how Farmhouse on Boone makes it just like so simple, and not as meticulous, I guess I would say, to do sourdough. Like, you don't need to overthink it. It's not as hard as you would think. So here, little man woke up, and I'm putting him in my Solly baby wrap. I have said before in my last video how I have a love-hate relationship, but it definitely is so snuggly and cuddly. It just is a huge learning curve when you're first starting out and trying to figure out how to get the baby put in here comfortably. But once they're in and they fall asleep, they love it. Here I'm just showing you some of the fall decor and a rare moment of our house being clean and some pretty flowers. So this is our patio that my husband carved for us. It's just been such a great place for us to gather and And now I am just making my afternoon coffee. Anytime that I do bread making or dishes, I really like to have an afternoon coffee. I have become one of those people. So I have this really cool frother that can do it cold as well as hot. And so I'm just using some of our leftover cold coffee from the morning, and then I put some pumpkin spice and some cardamom and half in there, and it is frothing that up. And then I'm going to put a little bit of maple syrup and stir that all together, and it's just a delicious afternoon treat. I try not to drink too much coffee. When you're breastfeeding and nursing, you really only want to have 300 milligrams a day, which is 36 ounces of coffee. This is a really inexpensive way to make basically the same thing that they have at Starbucks, which is the pumpkin cream cold brew, and I love that one so much, and this tastes really similar to that, so it's super yummy and way less expensive. I've been trying to clean up as I go so that our house stays clean since our cleaning lady came today, and I don't want to mess it up. And now I'm just being impatient, waiting for the frother to finish. So one of the projects that we did, I say we again, my husband did it. I watched our daughter while he did it, so that counts for something. You can see the green subway tile backsplash there. We had debated and we kind of put it off for a while because we were thinking we wanted to redo the countertops, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that this style of house and the age of the house, it just doesn't really require quartz countertops. Like, it just would feel out of place, and these Formica countertops are in really good shape and they clean super easily, so we decided to just leave them. Same thing with our sink. I kept thinking, oh, I want like the big white beautiful farmhouse sink, but in all reality it would probably look dirty all the time. I don't like one basin because I like to wash on one side and then put them on the other, stack them all up, and then rinse them all at the same time. So the one basin wouldn't really work for us. There's baby boy in his pack and play. So cute. Anyways, I guess what I'm just trying to say is sometimes it's best to just do less projects and be happy with what you have and be content. So here's my sourdough. I didn't really give you a good shot of the before, but it was so crusty and gross, and now it looks brand new, the container. So yay, I'm glad I got that taken care of. And now I'm just getting the focaccia bread all spread out and adding the dimples to it, and then it'll go through its second rise, which I believe is another 1 to 2 hours. This uses active yeast, so it's not as long of a bulk rise period as if you were doing a regular sourdough, which I will show some sourdough boule artisan loaf that I'm doing. And of course, Murphy's Law, as my husband gets ready to go back to work next week, we are having missions conference at our church, which we're really excited for, but it is going to be kind of a lot with 2 kids because it doesn't start until 6:30, and it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, and her bedtime is like around 7. So we will all be so tired. So I'm trying to prepare as much as possible, make sure that my sourdough is all fed and put away in the fridge and happy, and that I can go a week or 2 without touching it and it'll be fine. And just have some yummy bread for us to eat and some pre-made meals. I made a really big pot of beans the other day so that we can have that for like bean and cheese burritos, or put it over pasta or rice, things like that. So it's just like some nice easy meals, and we also still have a ton of freezer meals that I made ahead of time. Here's a project my husband's been working on. He's probably gonna have to put it on hold a little bit now, but this is like a TV stand cabinet thing. So it has 2 cupboards and 2 drawers so that we can have a space to put all the kids' stuff.
Dada.
Daddy digs, Daddy weeds, hands me tools and pumpkin seeds. Side by side we plant the rows.
He finished the fence in our front yard. There was no fencing on the whole 8 acres of this property. And then those rocking chairs needed some repairs, so he was working on that, and he is almost done. Well, now that I'm filming this, he's done installing this railing so our daughter doesn't fall off of the porch into the bush anymore, so that'll be good. and we can enjoy this covered area when it's raining, and we can come out here and at least have some fresh air. She was being the anti-helper, as we like to jokingly call her. So I decided to take her to the local nursery and pick up some plants. She had a lot of fun with the fountains. It was really cute. And I got some grass and different flowers. I can't think of the name of that grass right now. But then I got some coneflowers and different sunflowers and things. Here's our cat's little hidey hole under our stairs. It's the perfect little spot. I was just checking, making sure that she had food. We have a child lock on it so that Aurora can't get in there. So Maybelle has a safe space to hide.
Oh yeah, Daly's here. Huh? Yeah, didn't you see the text? You were on it. She said she needed to come tonight at 5 instead of tomorrow.
So here I'm talking about our farmhand, Daly. She comes once a week and helps us with some chores like cleaning the chicken coop and refilling their water and the horse water and the dog water and cleaning up things around the property. So she just works for a couple hours, and it's super helpful that we don't have to take care of that stuff in this busy season.
420 minutes. She's like,
Chester is our livestock guardian dog. He's a big, white, floofy, adorable yet scary looking dog. He is a Great Pyrenees Maremma mix, and he can be a little intimidating, and Daly hasn't really been up close and personal, and today we had him out on his cable guarding the chickens, so my husband had to go move him so that she could get to the chicken coop.
guard dog on duty.
And here I'm just chopping up some fresh herbs. This is rosemary. I'm talking about Chester.
I'm not watching. Can't watch.
I get a little nervous when Chester meets new people. I never know how he's going to react. So yeah, we have rosemary, thyme, parsley, sage, oregano. All of our herbs have been doing really well, and we've had a really unseasonably long growing season this year. The rosemary and thyme will definitely overwinter, which is awesome. And now I am just getting the focaccia bread ready to go in the oven. Sprinkling it with olive oil, rosemary, and garlic powder. Couldn't think of the right word. Mom brain, it's a thing. 20 minutes, 400 degrees. I am making us a chopped Cobb salad, I like to call it. I don't know. We had a bunch of leftover romaine from my sister-in-law, basically, and my brother came over and left a bunch, so using that up. These are radishes from our garden, and if you are new to gardening, or even if you're not, just if you haven't grown radishes, they are such a great first crop. They grow super fast, so it's really rewarding. I think they mature in like 22 days. So if you like radishes at all, I really like them fresh on salads. I did do some pickled radishes. I haven't opened them yet, so I'm not sure how they turned out, but these are from our garden. And then Tyler went out and picked this cucumber right before I cut it. So talk about fresh farm to table. And it's crazy that we still have cucumbers. We're almost to November, and he was still able to pick a cucumber, which is just a huge blessing because it's one less thing that I have to buy at the store. The cherry tomatoes are also from the garden. And then we're using our homegrown eggs. And then I had some leftover chicken from earlier in the week when I cooked a whole chicken. And we'll put some shredded cheese and some sunflower seeds and what else? Some bacon. And it'll be a really hearty, yummy salad. So earlier I was talking about how we have a ton of freezer meals, and I was thinking that we were going to have to use those right when the baby was born, but we were so fortunate and blessed that our church family did a meal train for us that lasted 3 weeks, and I was not expecting it to be that long at all. Now, it was pretty spaced out. We didn't have people bringing us something every day, but everyone cooked so much that it worked out perfectly, and it was just a huge blessing, especially to be able to not really need to tap into, well, I didn't tap into any of the freezer meals that I made, so now I'll be able to use those a lot when Tyler is back to work, so that things are easier, because if you have had little ones, you know how hard it is in the afternoon and evening to get dinner on the table. So we will be in survival mode for a little while I'm adjusting to this new normal. These are Sun 100s, and I made the mistake of planting 2 of these plants. I should have known better because we get our starts from Rainier View Winery in Graham. If you're local at all, they are amazing. Everything that we buy there grows like crazy. I don't know what they do, but their starts are incredible. So yeah, I should have only planted 1 of these Sun 100 plants. Oh well, we've been able to bless lots of people with our abundant tomato harvest. And then hubby went and picked this bowl of herbs for me. Done with our salad. The bread is done. I'm pulling that out of the oven. And it smells so good. And now I am going to make some homemade honey mustard salad dressing. This is some raw local honey from Roy or Ashford. He picked it up at the Eatonville Mountain Community Co-op. I only really use it if we're not going to be cooking it or baking it. I don't use it in baking because then it loses the properties, I'm pretty sure, that are supposed to be good for you that's in local raw honey. It's supposed to help with allergies. So I'm going to use that and some Dijon mustard and salt and pepper and garlic and lots of herbs, that whole bowl. Back there in that tub, you can see that's some homemade apple cider vinegar. Our apple tree went bonkers this year. Like, we had a bumper crop of apples, so with all the scraps, I made some apple cider vinegar. Now, I can't use that for canning because it has to be 5% acidity or more for canning, but I can use it for like soaking my oats or cleaning fruit or in salad dressings and things like that. So I don't know that I would go through the trouble of doing it again or not because I don't use it a ton, but I guess it is kind of nice just to save the store-bought stuff just for canning. So I basically just put a little bit of apple cider vinegar, like from the store, in some really big containers along with all the apple scraps, and then filled it with water and left it on the counter and made sure it didn't get moldy or anything on the top for 3 weeks, and then it was done. I just filtered it off, put it in that jug, and I've been using it ever since. Yeah, we had all of the fruit trees on our property pruned. What was it? It would have been it was a year ago, I think. Anyways, recently, and now they're producing so much more. It's great. They weren't like that before at all. I made tons of apple butter and then like apple pie and
bread?
apple crisp and applesauce, all the apple things.
It's a little warm, huh? Not too hot though. You can eat it. Fresh baked warm bread. It's okay, you can eat it.
So here are those boule. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's Boule. It basically in French means rounded bread. So I already mixed everything in the mixer and let it rise overnight. And now I'm just going to be shaping it and letting it rise for a couple more hours until I bake it. I'm making 1 loaf to take to church and then 1 loaf for us. And I don't have Banneton bowls, so I just use whatever bowl and use a tea towel that's lightly floured. And that works out perfectly fine. I used to do the stretch and fold recipe from Farmhouse on Boone of the sourdough until I found this recipe, and I love that you can just put it in the mixer and then it just rises after that. That's it. You don't have to have so many steps. The stretch and fold to me was really time consuming and annoying, having to revisit it all the time and get my hands all gross. So I love this recipe. I will link it below. And this shaping is just to form it into a ball and then provide oven spring and just get it into the right shape. You want to get some tension by moving it around on the counter like this. Getting it into a nice rounded ball. With it being an unseasonably long growing season, I've had to kind of let go of my desire to preserve everything. These are some peppers that we're probably just going to take to church to bless others with because I don't have time. And that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And I hope that you will subscribe and give this a like and that it blessed you and that you were able to learn something. And if you have little ones, that